Hi, everybody. It is Thursday, December 26th, the day everybody's out shopping for deals after the holiday. We usually go out and buy as many toys marked down as we possibly can find, stuffed toys, all kinds of stuff, and stash it till next year. And then when they have the toy drives, I can unload like the whole back of my truck. It's always great to pull in like to the fire department, and they've got their bins there, and there's like three toys in it, and when you leave, the bins are completely overflowing. But you suddenly can go pick up something that was $35 and it's $6, marked down. At this point they want to get rid of their inventory, and it's all of this great stuff. So that's what we'll be doing today. Wanted to start with just a sad note of having lost the great Richard Perry. Richard's one of those producers that I worked with over the years. I worked with Ray Charles with him, with the Pointer Sisters, Leo Sayer, God, just on and on and on. He had a great studio called Studio 55 down on Melrose, next to the Paramount Film Studio. And it was like a home away from home for a long, long time. But he's been suffering with Parkinson's and some other health issues and over the past number of years. But if you want to read a remarkable bio, go look up Richard Perry, Perry. And he was one of the giants in our industry. And he just passed the other night. Let me see, what else here? Musically, I'm gonna go over a couple of things here today. This was such a huge part of my life, and I've talked about it on the channel before, and I'd like to revisit a couple of the things again. That was our band, The Section, and The Section formed, for those that don't know, because there's a lot of people who have come in, laid into all of this stuff, and there's this backstories to so much of it. But the Section was named by James Taylor when we were looking for a name for the band. Now, we were James's backup band in the beginning. It was Danny Korchmar on guitar, Russ Kunkel on drums, myself on bass, and when Carole King left, then Craig Durgee came in and became the keyboard player. And we toured with James and with Jackson Browne and Carole King, everybody. And we became like a unit that got used a great deal collectively, and then tons of stuff with us individually or in different pairings. But when things got started with James was not a big fan of extensive sound checks and all that in the old days, but we were just like so horny to play all the time that when James we'd finish his sound check and then he would split, and then we would just jam. And eventually Peter Asher took us aside and he played us a board tape, and he said, "This was you guys at sound check today." And it was pretty cool. So he ended up getting us a deal with Warner Brothers Records, and we did 2 albums for Warner Brothers and then 1 for Capitol. Needless to say, none of them were successful. They were cult albums. The people who discovered us loved us, but we just never quite got I don't think the labels knew what to do with us because it wasn't what they expected, really. I think because of our pedigree, they were hoping to get like an Eagles or Poco or Burrito Brothers. Instead, they got a rock fusion instrumental album. But one of the things that was great was in 72, I think it was, or 73, we were on the road. We got a situation where we got to open for the great Mahavishnu Orchestra and spent about 4 or 5 weeks on the road with the guys. And by the end of it, we were all really good friends, and it was a great, great tour to do together. That's when, and Billy Cobham was the drummer in Mahavishnu, and he asked me after that, he called me up and he said, "Look, I got a record deal. Would you come to New York and do my album?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I flew to New York and we spent 2 days in the studio and cut Spectrum, which became kind of one of the cornerstones of jazz fusion rock albums, with Tommy Bolin on guitar and Jan Hammer on keys and Billy on drums. It was a remarkable experience, but the the stuff that came out of the section was really fun because we were real different. We weren't jazzers, we were rock guys. So when we did our instrumental project, it really was more rock flavored, not like Return to Forever and Weather Report and all that. So when we went on the road with Mahavishnu, it was a great pairing because it wasn't like, this kind of a thing. It was more like this. So it was great. But I thought I'd play some songs from our third album. And this was from 1977, and this was the last album that we did. And then after this, we just said, nothing's happening. We're done, or we're through with this. I mean, we kept working together, but the section as an entity ceased to exist. And then these many, many, many years later, we sort of reinvented ourselves through Danny Korchmar as the immediate family. Totally different than the section. I mean, people say, "Oh, it's like the section." It's not, because it's all the immediate family stuff was with vocals, and Waddy Wachtel and Steve Postel were in, and we don't have keyboards in the immediate family, so that didn't involve Craig, but it was Cooch and Danny Korchmar and Russ and myself and Waddy and Steve. But on this one, I'm going to play a few tracks from this one for those that weren't familiar with what this was all about. And I just hope everybody's doing okay. We're still in a holiday week here, and I got just a bunch of book orders. I feel so bad. I mean, some people have written to me going, their books just haven't arrived yet, and they were supposed to be Christmas presents, and it really is the post office. So at this point, I mean, it was almost impossible for me. The thing where I screwed up, and I will take full credit for screwing up, was I should have taken all the books in the front door and had them scan them so that they would be immediately in the system. But I was taking like 80 books at a time, and they're huge. I mean, they weigh 6 pounds a piece. So when you're hauling this kind of inventory, to go in to the post office and have people standing in line and suddenly somebody comes in with dollies full of stuff, it's pretty disheartening. So I've always just gone straight to the loading dock and unload everything into their media bins. And that's where I think the post office just has shoved this stuff to the side, and it's all going to get there eventually. But at this point, I'm taking everything in and getting it scanned so that if anybody wants to check, it's in the postal system and it's up to them. Because I wanted people to know that this book is a one-man operation. It's only me doing it. I pick them up. I loaded them into the warehouse. I pick them up. I bring them home. I unwrap them, sign them, whatever's got to be done, repack them, print the labels myself, do everything myself, and then take it and physically put it at the warehouse. It's nobody in my end of this has dropped the ball on it, but I just feel bad that it really is the post office that has become the issue for this, because I spoke to the woman at the place where I go, and she said, if it's been delivered here, it's all not here. It's been loaded in trucks and sent off to distribution centers. That's where they've, just they're letting them sit, because they're so backlogged. The postal system is really not in the best shape. But I'm not going to get into that because that's getting into a deep situation that I don't want to go to. But I just, my heart's with all the people who didn't get the books. I mean, I've had a lot of people sending me pictures of them. They've unwrapped it and they're sitting there showing me the book and giving me the finger and everything. It's really sweet, but I wish everything had gone a little more smoothly. So let's listen to a little bit of music. Now on this, the credits, pretty limited credits on this one. It's myself on bass, Russ Kunkel on drums, Jim Horn played flute on one of the tracks, Danny Korchmar on guitar, Craig Durgee on keyboards, Joe Lala and Steve Foreman came in and did percussion on a couple of the tracks. David Sanborn and Jim Horn are playing saxophone, the great Chuck Finley on trumpet. And we have two tracks that have some vocals on them. And one of them, the vocalist is David Crosby, and the other is James Taylor. And it was engineered by the great Matt Hyde. And we cut this at United Western Studios and at Sunset Sound Studios. And this goes back, as I said, to 1977. So I am going to go ahead and let me get this, because here we are, full album. I'm going to go ahead and just play a couple of things on here, but for anybody who wants to dig it up, it's all on YouTube. So enjoy. But here we go. This one, this is called Street Pizza. You know, the fun part of doing instrumentals, you can call shit anything you want, because it's got nothing to do with anything. So this is Street Pizza. There we go.
Hit the button, buddy.
was all so much fun to play live. We used to play, we did a lot of club stuff, especially there was a club called Dante's in LA, in North Hollywood back in the day. It's long gone, it became a BMW dealership, I think. But back in the day, that was the hang. It was great. And Tommy Bolin came a couple of times and sat in with us, and it was like totally happening. Let me find something else here. Let me try to find where this one is. Oh. Sorry, I'm just... Let me try this one here, see what we got. This is called Magnetic Lady. I just realized this is one, I hardly ever take bass solos. I'm not a big bass solo guy. I admire the people who are great at it, but this, I mean, but this is actually, I just realized this is me soloing over my bass part here. So this is bass solo. Drums stop very bad. Those that you know. David Crosby, I think, starts singing now. Yeah, it's David. Miss you, David. One more. Let's see what we got here. Street pizza, hamsters of doom, bad shoes, moon over Fontana. Let's do hamsters of doom. It's like, why not? Here we go. The Section, our third album, Fork It Over. Great album cover, too. Dave Willardson, great artist, did the cover on that one, and I've still always loved it. But it's the whole album is on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, please, because it's damn hard to find. It's really it was the strangest thing was going over and working in Japan and going into like Tower Records in the Ginza, and there's a big rack with our three albums on it on CD. I mean, it was like the only place in the world I think our stuff was still going, and I still get letters from people in Japan. When are you coming back to Japan with the Section? And one of the craziest things was we were doing a project with a Japanese singer named Takuro Yoshida, and we were over there, and the guy who was our liaison with all the Japanese said, I forget where we were, in Shinjuku or one of the areas in town, but he said, there's a club here you got to come to. You guys have to come to this club. So it's just, we get there and we're outside and we come in the door. The owner of the club sees us walk in, falls to his knees. He's crying. He's so excited. He had no idea we were coming there or that we were in Japan. And we look at the walls. It was like an homage to us. I mean, almost every album that we up to that point had ever played on was on his walls, pictures of us. And it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I could only hang for about 5 minutes because the smoke was so thick in there. Because at that time, it still is, but I mean, at that time, man, smoking was deep. It was like, wow. But it was a trip to go in there, and there's our Section albums in there, and the music we played, that's what they're playing on their jukebox, and it was a trip. Gave the guy a big hug, and it was really, really sweet and so flattering and so moving to have somebody with that kind of enthusiasm for what we did. But so that was it. So I'm going to get running. I'm going to go I got about a dozen books that came in, so I'm going to do those, and I'm going to take them to the counter and make them scan them in so that if anybody tries to track them down, they are there. So I am out of here. I'll talk to you later. Bye.